This is pre-calculus, section 6.4, trig functions and the unit circle. Section 6.4. Okay. So, regardless of what the radius is or the hypotenuse is, the trig ratios are all going to simplify to the same ratios. And hopefully that was one thing that you learned while you were doing your science project. Okay, the trig ratios are the same regardless of the size of the circle. And so if that's the case, then in order to analyze some properties and phenomena about trig ratios, well, let's make the size of the circle as simple as possible. Let's make the radius 1. Okay, so that's what we're analyzing here. Well, what happens when the radius is 1, so that we can kind of just narrow it down to some basic properties, all right? So the picture that you have has a unit circle, and it's got a terminal side of this angle. Oops, let me undo that. I gotta choose my pen. This angle here. Okay, and that terminal side intersects with the unit circle at these points xy. The coordinates of that point are xy. Okay, well, what would happen if that were true? And here I've got some rules about what happens. Okay, so since the sign of that angle equals y over r, and r is 1, then the sign would be equal to that y coordinate, okay? And since the cosine is x over r, and x is 1, the cosine is equal to the x coordinate of that point. Okay, whatever that point is where the terminal side of the angle intersects with the unit circle. Okay, so on the unit circle, the coordinates of P are cosine of t, because that's x, and sine of t. Okay, all right, well, if that's the case, then the tangent, tangent is the y over x by definition, and since y is equal to sine, okay, and x is equal to cosine, then this rule is the case. Tangent is equal to the sine divided by the cosine. Okay, so these are some basic properties that are going to give you some rules that you can develop and understand about all trigonometric phenomena. Okay, and so here on the next page, we've just expanded that. Okay, so if we are talking about P having the coordinates cosine of t, sine t, and that happens when the radius equals 1, or we find the coordinates of that point between the terminal side of theta and the unit circle, okay, then all of these things in this table are true. The sine of t equals y, cosine of t equals x. We already explored that on the previous page. The tangent of t equals the sine divided by the cosine. And then over here are all my reciprocal rules. Okay? So cosecant is equal to 1 divided by sine. Secant is equal to 1 divided by cosine. And cotangent is equal to cosine divided by sine. Those are the reciprocal rules. All right, that's it. There's no problem solving in this section, just some explanation of some properties that you're going to have to know.